Free agency, phase 2, phase 3, who knows at this point? The market is largely picked over. And the Cowboys, but, if not that there are a lot of high-end centers in free agency that were available a week ago, and I wonder if the Cowboys even knew about this. I'd like to think that Travis Frederick gave them an inkling that he wasn't going to come back before a week's worth of shopping was done for interior offensive linemen. But Travis Frederick announces yesterday, out of the blue, that he is retiring. Remember, he had an illness that knocked him out for all of the 2018 season. He came back and played in 2019, but he made it clear that every day it was a struggle. I could no longer perform at my highest level. Playing well is not what I expect of myself and is not what my teammates deserve. Because of this, I know my days as a football player are done. I'm proud of what I've accomplished in my career, and I walk away with my head held high. I remember when he was drafted in 2013, bottom of the round. A lot of Cowboys fans were salty because everybody wants that sexy pick, that guy that's going to be a fantasy football phenomenon, a guy whose jersey you want to buy, who wants to buy a center's jersey. And I just remember there was just some general consternation as the Cowboys were quietly and methodically building that offensive line. And they kept building and building and building, and it got better and better and better. And now they're going to have to replace Travis Frederick, who isn't even 30 years old yet, Chris.
Yeah, it's a huge loss to their team. I mean, as we know, the Cowboys are built around their offensive line, their ability to pass protect Dak Prescott, open up huge holes for Ezekiel Elliott this year, which you heard me complain. I don't think he capitalized on all those yards. I am interested to know if the Cowboys had any inkling that this was coming. I mean, this is a huge loss. Now, last year was not like his best year. He was solid. He was good last year. Before he had his sickness and was out of football for a year, he was dominant and special. He really was, arguably the best center in football, if not the best. But now, the Cowboys are in a tough spot. Yeah, to find the center position at this point and start a free agency, they'll find somebody, certainly. But center is such an important position on the offensive line. Anybody knows that. But I think you could argue it's as important as any on there other than left tackle. I mean, think about it, Mike. All the guys you got to guard, the versatility you have to have. It's Damon Snacks Harrison. Oh, I got to have power to stop him. Oh, and then the next week it's Aaron Donald and the Tasmanian Devil, and he's doing spin moves and everything. So it's a very special skill set. It's usually the alpha male of the offensive line and the leader, and of course, usually the smartest guy on the offensive line. And that's where it'll be hard to replace a guy like Travis Frederick for the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, for the folks who may not be aware of the importance of this center, give us a feel for what the center actually does, especially pre-snap. We see a lot of waving hands around.
Right.
We see a lot of turning back to the quarterback. What's the center doing in those moments?
Yeah, the center is an extension of almost the quarterback and the coaching staff. And a lot of times he's communicating to the other four offensive linemen, right, the guard and tackle to both sides of him, to give them certain calls for how they're going to block, because the defensive line lines up in so many different fronts. Sometimes a linebacker comes down, shows he's going to blitz. So what you're saying, you see him pointing around like you see a quarterback saying, hey, 52's the mic. Well, he's reassuring that. And then along with that, he's making the proper calls, whether it's a slide or a molly call or whatever it may be that they have in their language. He's the one that's in charge of it and getting everybody on the same page on both sides. So you got to be extremely quick-witted and be able to react on the fly, blurt out orders, and then think about it this way, how special the job is. I mean, to snap the ball, and then you got to snap it, and then snap back up and block a guy like Aaron Donald, who's as quick as can be. So it is not an easy job, and he was special at it. And, Mike, it seems like that year away from football really took a lot out of him, and he kind of reprioritized life last year a little bit.
Yeah, and I also think just the physical demands of overcoming that illness, and maybe in some respects it's multiple years before you even get close to being back at the level you were once at. Pro Football Focus has him down for 1 sack and 8 quarterback hits allowed in 2019. In the 4 prior seasons that he played, he had 1 sack and 8 quarterback hits combined. So gives you an idea of the slippage that we saw. Joe Looney will be expected to step in and take over as the starting center. He filled in for Frederick in 2018, and the Cowboys move forward. But we have seen not a rapid deterioration of the offensive line in Dallas, but there was that stretch where they were the unquestioned best offensive line, and now they're fading back toward the pack. Don't you kind of have that sense of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line over the past couple of years?
Definitely not as dominant as it was 2 or 3 years ago. Now I think they did some good things last year, no doubt about it, and still towards the top tier in the NFL, but not the no holds bar #1 offensive line in football like they were for 2 3 years in a row. There, I mean, hey, Tyron Smith is continuing to have issues with his body. Each season it seems like we've had the Frederick issue. Zach Martin's been a little beat up, but he's still one of the best guards in football. Lyle Collins has been really one of the superstars of their football team. But yes, they have invested a lot into this offensive line, and it's not going to be easy without. Joe Looney, he'll fill in, he'll do a good job, but he's not Travis Frederick. Frederick can do special things at that position.
Yeah, one of the challenges for Mike McCarthy, new coach of the Cowboys, as he gets ready for his first season in Dallas after a full season out of football in 2019.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.